Today at the farm, we're gonna be servicing several of the tractors like the ones behind me here in order to be prepared for this upcoming harvest season. The first tractor we're gonna start with is our John Deere 8285R. We just crossed over 3,000 engine hours on this thing, so I know for sure we gotta take the oil out of these front hubs. Maybe change the hydraulic oil, definitely the engine oil. But first I gotta get the MTA out of the way, that way I can get this tractor out of the shed. Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. The last time we moved this tractor, we had to pull it ahead because the starter on it's kind of going bad. So hopefully I don't have that problem today. We'll see. Oh yeah. I'll head inside the 82. Already got the inside of this tractor cleaned out. The tractor is over here just running at about 1,500 RPMs. That way the oil will be nice and hot and easy to get out. But now I gotta get the forklift out of the shop because I kind of screwed up when I was taking the 8285R out of that shed over here. Here's what I messed up. I unhooked from the chisel plow and for some reason the hitch hit the ground, and then I realized, oh yeah, the jack was sitting right here and not actually hooked up to the chisel plow. So I'm gonna raise up with the forklift, the hitch a little bit, and then put the jack on. The oil drain plug is loose. I'm starting to realize the poor decision I made by wearing a bright neon orange shirt today, and here comes the oil. I didn't quite get my shirt, got my arm. This is one of those jobs you almost know you're gonna get dirty doing, and I shouldn't have wore the orange shirt. This is why we heat the oil up, because it just flows out way faster, and I need my other pail ready. Well, ooh, we gotta switch to the other pail. The joys of changing oil in tractors. Now that I got the oil running out, it's time to take the filter out. This is what we're actually gonna change, and we'll put a new filter in, start pumping some new oil in here. Here's the look of the old filter versus the new filter we're gonna be putting inside here. We usually change oil and filters about 200 to 300 hours in a machine, just depending on what time of year it is. So right now this tractor has about 280 hours since the last time we changed oil in it. And rather than going into harvest, not having changed the oil, just to be ahead of the game and not slow us down by having to change oil in season, we're just being a little bit preventative, and that's why we're changing the oil here today. Of course, they always put the filter in a very easy to manage spot. Not really, like this one, as you can tell, the hood's a little bit in the way, but I will say it's a lot easier to change in here in comparison when we get to the 6150 or the bucket tractor. Well, this kind of sucks. I took out all of the hose here out of our engine oil hose reel. That's gonna take the oil out of one of those bulk containers back there in the corner. And I stretched that all the way down so I can start filling up the fresh oil in our 8285R here. And as you can tell, I made it right here to the rock box. And that is all the hose that is in the reel. And I'm about 3 feet too short from reaching right here where the dipstick is to start filling. Which means I can't pull this tractor ahead because there's no oil in the engine. Even if I back the combine up a little bit more, that's not gonna change how far the hose is reaching. So now I gotta get some containers and start pouring oil in to get my 26 quarts filled up inside this engine block. Not gonna lie, I feel kind of dumb having to load the engine oil up in this fashion, especially since we already have the hose reel here. But as that saying goes, the more you screw up, the more you find out. I put in the 26 quarts of oil. Took a lot longer than what it should have. Check the dipstick, looks good. The next oil that needs to be changed on the tractor here is the ones for the back differentials, as well as our hydraulic oil for all of the hydraulics that we hook up. I got all the oil out of the back end, including all the hydraulics and the rear axle. So now it's time to start filling it back up. The last oil I gotta change for this tractor to be ready for the fall is the oil inside these hubs. There we go. Now that the oil is out of the hub here, I'm just gonna back the tractor up a little bit, get the hub level across again so we can get it and start filling it in with some more fresh oil. Now start filling her up. The tractor should be ready to go now for this fall. I'm just gonna back it out of the shop here, hook up the power washer, wash it off one last time, and then we'll get another tractor in the shop. The 82 is now cleaned up and ready to go for harvest. And I should mention, if you haven't noticed so far in today's video, I did actually chip my large tooth. I wish I could say it was when I was wrenching on the tractor. It's actually more of a sissy story in my opinion. I was actually in the house getting something to eat, had an apple. I'd already chipped this tooth several years ago in a high school basketball game. Bit into the apple, felt my tooth chip off. So hopefully the tooth fairy will come tonight. I don't know what you get for half a tooth. I guess we'll see. But I'm gonna put this tractor away and we'll see you guys in the morning so we can start changing oil and getting other equipment ready. It's the next day now and you're probably noticing, Matthias, you didn't get your tooth fixed yet. Yeah, another day of looking like Elmer Fudd, unfortunately. The dentist was all booked today, but I do have an appointment set up for tomorrow. So I'll get that fixed tomorrow, but the first thing we need to get done here today at the farm is I want to get the corn head folded up, bring the combine here outside of the shop. That way we can get the four-wheel drive in here so I can start changing oil on that. Days like today where it'd really be nice to have a bigger shop because I wouldn't have to fart around getting the combine out. And like now we got to get the four-wheel drive out of this shed to bring it into the shop. Of course, now I got to move the NTA again because this is in the way. So hopefully it starts 2 days in a row, which might be a miracle, but we'll give her a shot. Come on. Oh, you're kidding me! I was actually a little bit wrong on what we need to get done on this tractor. I was looking at our service records. Only have about 100 hours on the current oil change. Fuel filters still have 200 hours to go. So I'm gonna start filling it up with some DEF, hit some grease zerks in the back, and then we'll start changing the tire pressure, getting it set for where we want it to pull the chisel plow. Filling it up with DEF, Def's always a pain in the butt because you can't leave this stuff outside in the tank because it'll freeze. So it's always an extra job of pulling out the def tank and filling up equipment like I'm doing. Hop the old def cover back on. Got her all filled up. Now before I start checking all the tires for the pressure, I came back inside the cab, and about 3 or 4 times a year John Deere releases a software update for the displays and the globe. So I'm going to jump in here and see that everything's up to date. Software manager, check for updates. Next. So it's checking for updates. It's one nice thing, we have internet all throughout the shop. So we're able to check for updates remotely rather than having to use USBs. So it just saves one trip back and forth to the office. We'll see if it finds any that we need to do though. Turns out there's a couple updates, so we'll just hit download, start downloading them all. Now we'll start checking all the pressures in the tire. Now that the tires are good, let's check to see how our update is coming here. Looks like we got a warning. Go all the way down to the agreement. We read all that. And we should be updated. Now that we are done with the 9620, I brought this back into our cold storage shed because this is where it's gonna sit until we need it to start pulling the chisel plow. And I'll kill the battery switch here. That way the batteries won't go dead. Now I'll head over here and get the 6150 out, start working on that. Obviously, I've learned a little bit since yesterday because I'm not wearing a bright neon orange shirt as I'm about to take the plug off here, start draining the oil in the 6150. Here it comes. Ah, it's hot. Ooh, that's hot. Wow, it's hot. We're just gonna let the plug drop. No, we're not. We're gonna catch it. Now that we got the oil running out, it's time to pop up the hood of the tractor. That way we can access the filter underneath. The oil filter for the 6150 here, you might think now that I got the hood up, it's actually accessible. But the oil filter is actually behind this panel right here, so I gotta pop a couple bolts off. That way we can get the filter off and put the new one on. Now this is how I should have been filling yesterday's tractor with oil. Now I just gotta stand here, watch the gauge on the handle there, fill it up with 26 quarts, and the oil's ready to go. And now to check the dipstick. Yep, I'm good. No, I'm just kidding. The actual dipstick of the tractor. Yep, we're above our fill marks. We should be good. Should now just need to grease a couple of grease zerks here on the loader bucket, and then we should have everything good, so let's start greasing. Now I should have all the tractors gone through except for our 8R340. I still need to drop the oil on that thing and change some things inside the cab to run the grain cart. But we still have to go through the combine, corn head, bean head, augers, a bunch of tillage tools as well for this fall, but that's another day's project. And in the next video, I'll be showing you guys a new piece of equipment, but don't get your hopes up. It's not gonna be a new tractor. Come on, it's gonna be a new tooth. But with that, that's gonna be it for today's video of High Tech Farmer. Thanks so much everybody for watching. See ya in the next one.